प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So welcome to the morning discussions on the Madhurya Kadambini. Today we are beginning the last shower, that is the Ashtama Vrishti, which is Prema Bhakti. Let's chant the Mangalacharan verses. Ridva Prenava Bhakti Shasya Vitate Sanjeevani Swagama रम्भे कामतपतरुदाहदमने विश्वापगुल्लासिनी धूरान्मे मरुशाकिनोऽपि सरसि भावाय भूयात् प्रभु श्रीचैतन्यकृपानिरङ्कुशमहा माधुर्यकादम्बिनी श्रीचैतन्यकृपानिरङ्कुशमहा माधुर्यकादम्बिनी श्रीचैतन्यकृपानिरङ्कुशमहा माधुर्यकादम्बिनी भक्ति पूर्वे श्रिताः तां तु रसं पश्येद्यदात्यधि तं नौमि सततं रूप नाम प्रिय janam hare. So the Ashtama Vrishti is the eighth shower of nectar, which is Prema Bhakti. We briefly last week we discussed Bhava Bhakti. And Bhava Bhakti, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur keeps it very, very brief. When Asakti becomes more matured, Asakti ripens into Bhava. And the two symptoms of Bhava are Sudurlabha and Moksha Laguta Krit. And at the stage of Bhava Bhakti, Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma, Prema Suryansha Samyabhak, Ruchibis Chittamarshanya, Krit Asobhava Uchyate. So the Lord's spiritual potencies from the spiritual world, the Sandhini, Samvit, and the Ladini, especially the Samvit and the Ladini, they enter the heart of this sadhaka. And remember, even Bhava Bhakta is called as a sadhaka. Only when it ends Prema Bhakti, he is called as a Siddha. Because still there are traces of contaminations in the form of aparads, which even they stay at the stage of Bhava Bhakti. So this Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma is the Swarup Lakshan, and the Prema Suryansha Samya Bhak and the Ruchibis Chitta Marshana, the heart still melts, because of various kinds of spiritual desires. So that is symptoms of the Tatastha Lakshana. We saw that. And we mentioned what is this Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma, the special manifestation of the potency of the Lord. That means the desire to please Krishna is there in the eternal associates like Srimati Radharani, Lalita, Vishaka, Rupa Manjari. And this is Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma. And Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunai Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Karayodaya. So this Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema is there in the eternal associates. And at the stage of Bhava Bhakti, this desire also manifests in the heart of these sadhakas to please and give pleasure to Krishna. And that's what is these three potencies, the Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma. That what happens. The heart gets completely spiritualized. And then we went into the, state of a Bhava Bhakta. The description was very, very graphic because various emotions, what he's experiencing, all that we saw. It's just a description, that's it. You have to just hear it. Nothing, it's simply madness, and then the rasas, how the different rasas, Stahi Bhav, along with Vibhav, Anubhav, Sanchari Bhav, and Satviki Bhav, decorate him. So we saw that different emotions he's experiencing, you know, uh, at that stage. Now let's go to uh, Prema Bhakti. Now I'll read line by line so that we can understand the verse, the meanings. अत तस्य एव भक्ति कल्पवल्लाः साधना अभिखे ए पूर्वं द्वैपत्रिका लक्षिते इदानीं. The two unfolding leaves called sadhana on the desire tree of the bhakti were described before. So this was described firstly in the Madhurya Kadambini second shower, how when there is pure seed, the pure desire, that is Anya Abhilashita Shunyam desire, then that pure sprout will give to two leaves, which is Sadhana Bhakti, Vaidhi, and Raganuga. So this was described before. So that's what he is saying now. ततोति चिखानि तादृश श्रवण कीर्तना दिम मयानि भाव कुसुम संलग्नानि अनुभाव अभिधानानि बहुनानि पत्राणि सहसैव आविर्भूय शने शने द्योतयन्ति यानेनैव भाव कुसुमम्. Now, as hearing, chanting, and other devotional processes, Tadrisha Shavana Kirtana Dibhyana become very smooth. Chikani. Chikani means they become very suddenly many shiny petals grow as Anubhava. Symptoms of ecstasy appear at every moment, clinging to the flowers of Bhava. Now, again, I'll have to show you this picture so that it is clear. One second, let me open the picture. Hmm. Yeah, it's here. Now, it's quite not. So at the stage of bhava, because he's relishing, uh, these different moods, whichever he has practiced in his raganuga sadhana. Now, please remember, there are here you can see uh, in the stage of bhava, the uh, buds have started coming out, and it is fully blossomed in prema. But you have to remember that the leaves are also there. The leaves are also there. And here you can see in the beginning of sadhana bhakti, there is the leaves where there is Shravan Kirtan. So even at the stage of prema, yeah, even at the stage of prema, there is Shravan Kirtan. But this Shravan Kirtan at the stage of prema is giving rise to different ecstasies, the emotions. That's what Vishwanath Chakra Thakur is trying to make the point. Different anubhavas, symptoms of a clinging to the flower of bhava. So here bhava means the prema. So this is very important for us to understand and you know uh, take note of. Now I'll just take a detour here and explain the definition of Bhava Bhakti. So this is there in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu Eastern Division, the fourth wave, the first verse. Samyanmarshita swanto mamatat atishayankita bhava eva sandratma budhe prema nigatyate. When bhava becomes extremely condensed, so the bhava which is there, when it becomes more condensed, bhava sandratma. It is called prema by the learned. Se eva bude prema nigatyate. It softens the heart completely. Samyak marshita swanto, and produces extreme possessiveness of the Lord in the experiencer. Mamatva atishaya ankitah. Mamatva. So here we had mentioned that bhava actually softens the heart. Ruchibhishchitta marshanya, and the desire for the devotee to attain the Lord, to give him pleasure, to attain intimacy is there. But at the stage of prema, this bhava becomes more stronger, and there is a deepening ecstasy. And here it is very important to note the difference between bhava and prema is that here Rup Goswami has made mamata ati ankita, extreme possessiveness of the Lord in the experiencer. So this is Braj Bhakti, Yashoda thinks Krishna is my son. Krishna is my darling son. She doesn't think he is the Lord. So this happens at the stage of bhava. So the difference between bhava and prema is that bhava begins to soften the heart, whereas prema, here you can see there is a complete softening of the heart. Samyak marshita swanta. Swanta means the heart internally. Marshita means, softening, and samyak means complete. Samyak rupena, it is samyak. Samyak means perfect. So this is one uh, additional characteristic. The bhava becomes more condensed, and there is complete softening of the heart, and then there is extreme possessiveness of the Lord in the experiencer. So here are the primary characteristics. There is Sandratma, condensed state of bhava. Hmm. And then there is a marginal characteristics, completely softens the heart, and highly possessive ownership of Krishna. Mamatva atishayankita. So samyak marshita swanto. So these are the characteristics in bhava. Now, as I was explaining this line, this line that the as the hearing and chanting happens uh, in the sadhana stage, also there is hearing and chanting, but this kind of ecstasy, you know and there is the chikhani, there is shiny petals is not there. So Prabhupada in his Chaitanya Charitamrita purport mentions that, at the stage of prema also, one should continue hearing and chanting, he says. It's not that you stop hearing and chanting. So now let me again, go back to this picture. So what happens, we started describing the, the pure seed, which is sown in the field of the heart. That is uh, amishrit, jnana karmadi anya abhilashita bij. And because of this, there is a sprout, and Shuddha Bhakti, that is Uttama Bhakti, has these two characteristics, Shubhada and Kleshagni. And then, as we practice sadhana bhakti, within sadhana bhakti, there is, Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, Anarth Nivritti happens. And Anarth Nivritti, then there is Nishta, Ruchi. And at the stage of Ruchi, you can see it is only at the stage of Ruchi, till then it is here leaves only. But at the stage of Ruchi, the buds appear here. Hmm. So the wine, this creeper wine, it's not W-I-N-E, V-I-N-E, this creeper wine uh, produces the buds here at the stage of Ruchi. Ruchi, and in between Ruchi and Asakti, you can say at the stage of Ruchi. Ruchi is when you get taste. And we were describing how It's only at the stage of Ruchi the Papa Bija Nash happens. And because the Papa Bija Nash has happened, the spiritual heart is now tasting Krishna's name, form, qualities, pastimes. Gradually, step by step, it happens. First, it is the name. Namaruchi is there. So, in one sense, the spiritual desires are, you know, manifested here. So that's why the birds come. And the birds blossom at the stage of bhava. And in the stage of prema, what is happening? There are many glossy leaves of ecstatic symptoms like tears, laughter, weeping, dancing, you know, and these flowers of blossoms of flowers of the bhava give rise to the full-fledged prema. So this is what is happening. So this is what Vishwanath Chakra Thakur is trying to say here. Shining brilliantly, the fully blossoming flower of bhava matures and brings forth the fruit of prema. Parinamam prapya punas tadeva prema abhidhana falatva ma nayanti. So this is what happens. So I described already. This is how. Kim cha आश्चर्य चर्येयं भक्ति कल्पवल्ली यस्या पत्र स्वतक पुष्प फलानि प्राप्त परिणत्यापि स्वस्वरूपम अत्यजन्तेव नव नवनवायेव सहसैव श्रवण सर्वाणि विभ्राजयते. But what is most astonishing about the creeper of bhakti is that though its leaves, buds, flowers, and fruits mature into the succeeding forms, still their original forms remain. Together they shine splendidly in newer and newer ways. Now, this is again very important to understand. Now, again, we'll have to go back to the picture. Now, uh, generally, when I'm just giving an example of a fruit bud, the fruit bud, when it starts manifesting, or a flower bud, uh, the bud slowly blossoms, and becomes a full blown flower. Now, when there is a full blown flower, you cannot see the bud, and the little flower creeper which has come out. But what is astonishing is when there is a full-fledged prema in the form of this fully blossomed flower, there is also, the buds here. You can see the buds are there, and there is also the leaves here. They remain, they don't disappear. Actually, they should disappear. Material, if you see, like you sow a seed of a mango plant, that seed will turn into a creeper and a trunk, and then it will be a mango tree. Then there is no more seed there. But here the seed of Shuddha Bhakti will give rise to these creepers, and all these are present. So Sadhana Bhakti's symptoms, which is Kleshagni and Shubhada, will be there. The Bhava Bhakti symptoms, Sandranand Vishesha, no, Bhava Bhakti is Sudurlabha and Moksha Lokasakta, and the Bhava Bhakti symptoms, that is Sandranand Visheshatma and Sri Krishna Akarshani. So, Kleshagni and Shubhada have happened to the fullest degree, and Moksha Gutakrita and Sudurlabha has happened to the fullest degree, but still these characteristics. So, in Bhava Bhakti, in Prema Bhakti, all the six characteristics are present. It's not that these disappear. These disappear. No, it is there. So that's the point what Vishwanath Chakra Thakur is trying to make. Tataschasya Bhakta Janasya Atma Atmiya Grihe Vittadishu Shata Sahastro Bhavato यश्चित्त वृत्ति ममता रुजिभिः तेषु तेषु निबद्ध एव पूर्वमासम ता एव चित्तवृत्ति सर्वा एव ततस्ततो वहलेव विवो च स्वशक्त्या मायिकेर अपि ता महारसकूप स्पर्शमान पदार्थ मात्रीव साकार चिदानंद ज्योतिर्मयी कृते. Though previously the hundreds, if not thousands of emotions, ततश्चस्य भक्त जनस्य आत्म आत्मीय vrittadishu. Vritti means the chitta vrittis. Chitta vrittis. So in the chitta, there are the material emotions. Please mark this. There's thousands of emotions related to the body in the bodily concept of life and the bodily expansions about children, wife, so many things, These Sata Shahastra, if not hundreds, thousands of emotions, the devotee was firmly bound by ropes of attachment to body, family, house, and money, graha, vitta, adishu, you know, atma, atmiya. Atma refers to the body here. Atmiya means those who are very dear to the body. All this way, mamata, that affection, that bodily affection, what we have, na? Actually, this is the deepest bondage in this material world. Sneha badnam idam jagat. Kashyap Muni tells to his wife Diti, when the Bali Maharaj conquered the heavenly planets, uh, Aditi, I think. Aditi. Aditi was quite disturbed. Kashyap Muni had gone to do tapasya, and when he returned, his wife was very morose. Why? Because my sons are all bereft of their post and kingdom. They are all hiding here, you know. So Kashyap Muni, he said, Aho Ashcharyam Vishnu Maya. What is Vishnu Maya? Sneha Bandham Idam Jagat. So similarly, the devotee has hundreds and thousands of emotions which are binding him to the body, family, house, money. What happens? Rujjubi, Steshu Chishu, Nibaddha. They're binding him. Eva Purma Masam Ta. Previously, Prema now easily severs these bonds. Chittavritti sarva ye tatastato. Shvasvaktir mayapi maha rasakupa. And through its own power takes the same emotions, though illusory, and dips them into the well of great rasa. Maharasakupa Sparshamana, whose mere touch completely transforms them into radiant transcendental feelings. Padartha Matreva Sakara Chidananda Jyotir Mahi Krite. So, what happens is at the stage of Prema, all these emotions, material emotions, because of Prema in the heart of this devotee, what happens is because of the touch of Prema, what happens? The heart of the practitioner is completely spiritualized, and all his mundane thoughts which bind him, now they are transformed completely into transcendental feelings. So the Acharyas give an example here, just like an alchemist, is uh, cannot instantly transform sulfur and quick silver into gold just by mixing them. He cannot instantly do that, but by constantly rubbing them together, he has to continuously keep on rubbing. Similarly, a devotee whose rati has not yet developed may try to bring bhakti in his conscious mind to the activities of hearing and chanting, you know. But what happens? The mind doesn't stick to it. The mind goes to mundane subjects. But he has to do repeated performance of bhajan continuously. And then by this bhajan, when the devotee goes through the anarth nivritti stage, and then nishta, ruchi, and asakti, finally the merging of the inner being and the devotion is achieved. So until this stage, the passions for attachment, remain in the psyche. At the stage of rati, the heart's materialism is destroyed and it becomes spiritualized. And just like the merger of the sulfur and quicksilver is called mercury sulfate, similarly, the merger of devotion and the heart is called as prema. The merger of the devotion and the heart is called as prema. And now he is absorbed in relishing, you know, uh, the honey of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna's form, pastimes, and that very object which was a source of attraction and attachment, that object also transforms because now the heart is completely spiritualized because of prema. That becomes an uddipan for him. It becomes an uddipan, a stimulus to remember Krishna. Like, I'm just giving an example, you know, for somebody who's at the Anarth Nivritti seeing a young girl, he might develop attraction. But for a Premi Bhakta, the same girl will look like a gopi or a manjari who is serving Krishna, and his thoughts go into that because his heart is completely spiritualized. So this is what happens. ताभिर एव ममताभि सर्वभिस्ततः ततो विचिताभि स्वशक्तेव तथा अभिभूतिकृताभि श्री भगवत रूप नाम गुण माधुरेषु यो निबध्नाति. Then it firmly ties these spiritualized emotions. I told you what happens, there is the merger of the devotion and the heart at prema. So what happens? It firmly ties these spiritualized emotions to the sweetness of the Lord's form, name, and attributes. So this is what happens. Soyam prema mahakirana maliva uddishyamana eva nikhila purushartha nak satramandali sahaseva vilapayati. Such is prema, the brilliant rising sun. Now, Prema Suryansha Samya Bhak was mentioned, Bhava, but Prema is the full sun. So it's a brilliant rising sun that immediately puts the host of star-like human aims to shame. All these other, you know, this become, completely insignificant. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrit, there is a verse which describes this. Let me open that verse so that uh, the Chaitanya Charitamrit in the Adi Leela, 7th chapter. Yes. So I'll just share the screen. पंचम पुरुषार्थ से प्रेम महाधन Krishnera madhur ras karayasvadan. Love of Godhead is so exalted that it is considered to be the fifth goal of human life. By awakening one's love of Godhead, one can attain the platform of conjugal love. Krishnera madhurya ras karaya aswadan, tasting it even during the present span of life. So it's not something that prema you go to the spiritual world and taste. Right here, being here, the devotee is able to taste. And in the next verse, प्रेम होते कृष्ण है निज भक्ति वश प्रेम होते पाए कृष्ण सेवा सुकरस. The Supreme Lord, who is greater than the greatest, becomes submissive to even a very insignificant devotee because of his devotional service. It is beautiful and exalted nature of the devotional service that the infinite Lord becomes submissive to the infinitesimal living entity because of it. And reciprocal devotional activities of the Lord, the devotee actually enjoys the transcendental mellow of devotional service. Prema paite haya paye Krishna ras, seva sukha ras. So there is Jadanand, material happiness, from the hellish planets to the planet of Brahma. Then there is Brahmananda. which is an liberated soul's experience in the Brahma Jyoti. But this Seva Sukha Ananda is called as Seva Anand, which is only available in Bhakti. So this is what they taste. Okay, this is the first paragraph which was described by Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, I think. Yeah. Now, any questions regarding this you have? Any questions, any clarifications? Yes, Bir Krish Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dhanutna. Prabhu, just one clarification. You mentioned that spiritual desires manifest at Ruchi stage, right?
Yes, the Papa Bija Nash happen completely. And then there is, the what is happening is, the avidya is getting destroyed, the layers of avidya. And in the layers of avidya is actually our subtle body where the material desires all reside. So all the material desires are getting destroyed. And then the soul's desire awakens there. So that is gradual, it is happening with the stages of Nishta, Ruchi, and Asakti. Ruchi and Asakti, these stages, there is a pure desire, you can say, that, I want to completely please Krishna by this service. I want to chant for Krishna's pleasure. Now, also, if we see, we are chanting because, it's not that I have a desire to, give pleasure to Krishna. For that, we should be free from any desire to any self-centered desire, So that means we should be free from the bodily concept of life, you know. We should be self-realized in one sense. So that's Nishtha stage. So that gradually happens, and in Ruchi, it is mentioned by Jiva Goswami that the Papa Bija Nash happens completely. The Nasha happens completely. So then there is, when just like the example, like, you know, when there is a heavy flood, all the crops are destroyed. It's not that, they start more sprouting, they're completely destroyed. So the flood of rasa at the stage of Ruchi destroys this Papa Bijas, Nash, and then there is from the deep core of the heart, the spiritual heart, these desires start manifesting. That's what is being mentioned. Is it?
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Anyone else has? Okay, so now let's take the next paragraph, text 2. So again, let's go line by line. Now the two final attributes of devotion, that is Sandranand Visheshatma and Sri Krishna Akarshani. फलभूतस्यास्य यः स्वादयमानो रस च सांद्रानंद विशेषात्मा रसस्य परम पौष्टिकी शक्ति श्री कृष्ण आकर्षणी इत उच्यते. The devotee relishes the rasa of the fruit of prema in the form of a particular condensed bliss. Sandranand Visheshatma. Particular. Vishesh means particular. Condensed bliss. Sandra. Sandra means it is condensed. And Anand is bliss. The power that nourishes this rasa to the utmost is called as Sri Krishna Karshini. She who attracts Sri Krishna. She is mentioned because prema is a feminine personality, यस्मिन् आस्वादेतुम् आ आरभ्यमान एव विज्ञान न गणयतीति किम वक्तव्यम. When a devotee commences relishing this rasa, it is needless to say that he cannot encounter any obstacle anymore. So, I'm just going to give the definition of what is this Sandrananda Visheshatma. Again, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Prema Bhakti, it is defined. Here is the definition of Prema Bhakti. And Rupa Goswami from the Pancharatra gives this definition. Ananya ममता विष्णु ममता प्रेम संगता भक्तिर इत्य उच्यते भीष्म प्रहलाद उद्धव नारदे. Prema is defined, Prema iti uchyate, by Bhishma, Prahlad, Uddhava, and Narad, is as that bhava, bhakti, which has possessiveness related to Vishnu or any other form of the Lord. Vishnu Sangata Mamta and to no one else. Ananya Mamta. This is from the Pancharatna. So, what is the bliss? Sandrananda Visheshatma. In the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, the Eastern division, the first wave, Samanya Bhakti, the six characteristics of Shuddha Bhakti or Uttama Bhakti are defined. And the last two characteristics are Sananda Visheshatma and Sri Krishna Krishna. So there it is mentioned Brahmanando Bhavetesha Chet Parardha Gunikrita Naiti Bhaktas Sukamambodo Paramanu Tulamapi. The bliss of Brahman realization, Brahmananda, accumulated by Samadhi lasting for half of Brahma's life. Parardha Guni Krita is somebody is merged in the bliss of Brahmananda for half the life of Brahma cannot compare na tulam bhavet to one drop paramanopi of the ocean of happiness of bhakti. Bhakti sukha ambodhe. My goodness, can you imagine what is the bliss a devotee is experiencing at the stage of prema? That even for half the life of Brahma, what you're experiencing, Brahmanand, you cannot even compare it to one drop of the ocean of happiness in bhakti. Then further, so there is a reference given in the Hari Bhakti Suhoday. Tvat sakshad karnalad vishuddhabdi stitasya me sukani goshtapadyante brahman api jagat guru. O Guru of the universe, Jagat Guru, on seeing you directly, Tvad Sakshat Karana, I am situated, Sitasame, in the pure ocean of bliss. Vishuddha Alad Abdi. Alad means happiness, Abdi means ocean. All the happiness of impersonal Brahman, Brahmanyapi Sukani, is as significant as the water in a hoof print of a cow. Goshta Padanyante. So the Brahmananda is completely insignificant to Premananda. So this is what is Brahmanand. And then Sri Krishna Akarshani. Sri Krishna Akarshani. Kritva Harim Prema Bhajam Priyavarva Samanvitam Bhaktir Vashi Karotiti Sri Krishna Akarshani Mata. Bhakti is called Sri Krishna Akarshani. Bhakti Sri Krishna Akarshani Mata because it makes the Lord addicted to prema. Kritva Harim Prema Bhajam and brings him under control. Vashi Karoti along with his associates. Priya Varga Samanvita. Because prema is attractive to him, he is called Prema Bhajam, addicted to prema of his devotees. The word Shri in Sri Krishna Artikatni indicates Priya Varga Samanvita, along with his dear devotees. That means not only Krishna is attracted, his dear devotees also attracted. So these are the two qualities which are mentioned. And then there is a famous verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yuyam loke bat bhuri bhaga lokam punana munayo bhiyanti esham grahan avastati sakshan gudam param brahma manushya lingam. So Yudhishthira Maharaj was lamenting that, I don't have any love for the Lord, you know, and Narad Muni came and told, my dear Yudhishthira, all of you Pandavas, you are Nirloka, are extremely fortunate. Bhataburi Bhaga. Why? For the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, Sakshad Param Brahma, lives in your house. Esham Grahan Avastiti. In fact, when Krishna was in Dwarka, he had 16,108 queens who were serving him in Madhurya Ras, in the Swakiya Ras. And Krishna being attracted to the Pandavas' devotion was many times from Dwarka visiting Hastinapur, and he used to spend many months in Hastinapur. And the wives were, wondering, how is it that our Lord, why? Because of being attracted to the, devotion of the Pandavas, especially Yudhishthira Maharaj. And great saintly persons, Lokan Punani Munaya, who can purify others, know this very well, and therefore they constantly visit his house. So the great sages and the rishis who were in the forest, they left the forest and they used to all come to the kingdom of, Yudhishthir, because on whom they were meditating, Sakshat, they could have darshan. So what's the point in being in the forest? So they were all in the palace of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So thousands and thousands of sages used to visit the kingdom of and the palace of Yudhishthira Maharaj, because the absolute, personality of Godhead was living with the Pandavas. So this is how Prema is. That Prema, attracts the Lord. The Lord is attracted to the Prema. So one of the qualities of the Lord is that he is, Swarupananda. You know, Swarupananda means he takes pleasure in himself. But the quality of Prema Bhakti is that, he becomes attracted to the devotees' Prema, and that Prema pulls him more to the Lord, more to the devotee, sorry. So another difference between Sandranand Visheshatma and Sri Krishna Akarshani is Sandranand Visheshatma means the relish of the rasa of prema. It is very condensed. And Sri Krishna Akarshani means that the attribute of attracting Krishna, which is the nourishing power of rasa. The Vatsalya Prem of Mother Yashoda when she is churning the buttermilk and singing the glories of Krishna, Krishna is sleeping and he gets attracted and he wants to nourish that prema which Mother Yashoda has. And that's why he comes and stops the churning, and wants to relish the Vatsalya Ras. So this is Krishna gets attracted to that prema. So that is the difference. The power of rasa is Sandran Vishesharma, it is very condensed, and the attracting, nourishing power of rasa. So this is the difference between Sandrananda Visheshatma and Sri Krishna Akarshani. Now another point which was made here was, okay, let me see, where is it? Yeah, that when the devotee commences relishing this rasa, it is needless to say that he cannot encounter any obstacle anymore. So, in the Bhagavatam, there is a definition of Shuddha Bhakti. Savai pumsan paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshaje ahetukya pratihata yayatma suprasidati. So, when there is, there are two attributes of this pure devotion. One is ahetuki and one is apratihata. So the more the devotion has no desire except the desire to please the Lord. Sometimes when our devotion is more based on, external factors like, uh, if I'm getting some fruits out of it, like book distribution, you know, if I'm distributing more books and my scores are announced. So that is the motivating factor to do book distribution. The result, your result oriented, then, if I'm not getting the results, then, you might not go for book distribution. You are not motivated to do book distribution. So the more the bhakti is ahetuki, you know, or, when I'm giving a class, how many devotees are attending, or how many likes are there, or how many subscribers are there to that. So if there are few, then I'm not inspired to give. So the more the devotion is ahetuki, then the more that devotion will be apratiyata. It will not be obstructed. It will continue to do it. Apratiyata. So that is why at least this is in the stage of prema, that because he has ahetuki bhakti, so there is nothing that can impede. There can be no obstacles. Apratiyata. He can break through all the obstacles like the Ganga water when it starts flowing from Gomukh. Nothing can stop it. It doesn't hold on to itself. It outpours completely. And the external obstacles like the rocks or the trees, it completely crushes and flows towards the ocean. So similarly, at least at the sadhana stage, we might not be at that level of ahetuki, but we should practice bhakti to purify our heart. That should be the motivation. At the stage of prema, the heart is purified, and that's why it is more apratihata. So that's the point being made. Mahashura bata iva mahadana गृध्नानुरत्यावेश लुप्त विचारस्तस्कर इव स्व atmanam api navakshate. In this condition, he forgets himself like a powerful warrior or a very greedy thief who loses all sense of discrimination. So, devotee, if any obstacles, he faces also, na, while it is bhajan, uh, he overcomes them and he becomes more humble and he becomes more eager. And he doesn't care for any obstacles at the stage of prema because he's intoxicated by prema. And he's like a powerful warrior who is so absorbed in the fighting that he doesn't care for life. Or a greedy thief who forgets about sin, suffering, or the danger of death, which might come in his obsession for that wealth. Similarly, he forgets all auspicious or inauspicious considerations. Kimcha ratrin divam eva pratishanam abhyah hriyamanesh chaturvide parama swadubhir aparimiter anner api durupashamai durupashamaniva yadi kwachit shuddha sambhavayet. Such a eagerness of the Lord is like hunger that could not be satiated by four kinds of incomparable relishable rice, even if one eats day and night. Ratrinidam, ratrin divam, pratishanam. He's got such hunger for the Lord that it cannot be satiated. It cannot be satiated even by the four kinds of food. Now, this is a little difficult to understand. Let's give an example. Actually, in this world, hunger and food destroy each other. In other words, the food which we put in puts an end to hunger, and our hunger burns whenever we feed it. But the devotee who is relishing sweetness of Krishna in his vision, in his dreams, or directly, he is having boundless eagerness, and sacred greed to relish it, and it increases. And the devotee's hunger should get satiated, na? But it doesn't get satiated. In fact, the hunger increases more. Whereas when we put in food, the hunger subsides. But the relish for Krishna keeps on increasing. And the devotee feels that eagerness to meet Krishna is like a scorching sun of millions of suns. And then when he has the vision of Krishna, then he is soothed by the millions of moons. So simultaneously, this is happening. This is the state of prema. And there is a beautiful verse which describes this. So I'm just going to एमते दिने दिने स्वरूप रामानंद सहाय निज भाव करे न विदित भाय विष ज्वालहय भीतर आनंदमय कृष्ण प्रेमार अद्भुत चरित. In this way, Lord Chaitanya used to revel in ecstasy day after day and exhibit these ecstasies before Sarup Ramanand and Sarup and Ramanand Rai. Externally, they appeared like severe tribulations, that eagerness. as if he was suffering from a poisonous effects, but internally he was experiencing bliss. This is the characteristic of transcendental love of Krishna. ए प्रेमास्वाद तप्त इक्षु चर्वन मुख्य ज्वले नायाय त्यजन सेई प्रेमयान रमने तारे विकर्म सेई जने विस विषयामृत एकत्र मिलिन. If one tastes such love of Godhead, he can compare it to hot sugar cane. Now, hot sugar cane, when you're putting a hot sugar cane juice, the hot sugarcane juice is burning your tongue and it's terrible pain. But at the same time, you're tasting the sugarcane, so you're not able to give up that. When one chews hot sugarcane, his mouth burns, yet he cannot give it up. Similarly, if one has but a little love of Godhead, he can perceive its powerful effects. It can only be compared to poison and nectar mixed together. So he's constantly tasting the poison and nectar. The poison is not seeing Krishna, and the nectar is when he sees. And the poison, when he is not seeing Krishna, is compared to the millions of scorching suns. And the nectar of seeing Krishna is compared to the millions of soothing moon. So, this is what is happening for him at the stage of Prema. This eagerness burns the devotee like the sun and cools him off like the millions of moons when the vision appears to the Lord's endlessly sweet forms and attributes. Tat sadrishya utkantaya surya eva tapayan tatkala eva spurter abhir bhavatani bhagvat rupa guna madhuryani paranyaswada vishaya karanya koti chandra iva shishiryate. So that is the description. So any questions on this? Yeah, Shri Lalita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Now you had showed that a slide, right? So in order for us to have that Krishna Akarshani, only if a devotee is in prema level, he can attract Krishna. In bhava or any other stage, we cannot attract Krishna. Is it?
Firstly, we have to understand that even when we come in the beginning touch with Krishna consciousness, right, that first kirtan we attend or a festival we attend or a sankirtan we say, um, we get attracted to it. And this attraction is in the form of appreciation in the heart. The seeds of Shraddha are sown. So even Shraddha, in its development stage, there is a trace of Prema. A minute trace of Prema is that there is Prema, and that's why we are continuing our practices. But that development of that attraction, towards Krishna is fully manifest in the stage of Prema. So there is prema even in the stage of sadhu sangha. We like the sannyasis who are giving narration of the beautiful Krishna Katha, and our heart is attracted to hearing such Krishna Katha. And drawn by that attraction, we come running to the Bhagavatam class. Is that not a sign of prema? It is a sign of prema. But the attraction to this world is also there. And that's the tussle which is happening. And even at the stage of Nishtha, Banu Maharaj says that there is 50% attraction to Maya, 50% attraction to Krishna. At the stage of Bhava, there is attraction almost like 95 or 99%, some say, to Krishna. And the Prema, it is 100%. So that's what he is experiencing at the stage of Prema, which is described here. I hope it is clear.
Yeah, now you were telling about our attraction to Krishna. I'm talking about Krishna's attraction towards us. I mean, it will happen in all stages, right?
Krishna's attraction to us is that's why he's still keeping us in the association of devotees, and he's allowing us to practice the angas of bhakti. So that is also Krishna reciprocating. Ye yata mam prapadyante. But for a premi bhakta, Krishna fully uh, reciprocates by giving him darshan, by coming in front of him, and he himself is tasting the prema, what is there in the heart of his devotee. So that's what happens at the stage of prema.
Very, very difficult to, yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Very difficult to.
I mean, to go to that level, right, Prabhuji?
We should be happy at what level we are and take those baby steps that how Krishna is in there in my life and how Krishna's mercy is there in my life and how Krishna is reciprocating. And for us, Krishna consciousness is a day-to-day practice. That am I trying to please Krishna by chanting my rounds, by doing little service, and we have to see like that. And just like when you're in the dark, you have to take a torch and see the next steps. Ultimately we have to reach the destination. The next steps are more important for us. So we see those steps and gradually we are moving. And by the Lord's mercy and our sincerity and the devotee's mercy, gradually, we will make progress. Is it okay?
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Any other questions anyone else has? Okay, so we will stop here and we'll continue this discussion. Maybe the Prema Bhakti is quite elaborately described by Vishwanath Chakra Thakur. It has almost like 11 paragraphs. So maybe in the next 3-4 days, we will line by line discuss this. Thank you very much. Shri Madhurya Kadambini ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Vishwanath Chakra Thakur ki jai. Hare Krishna.